or as you say, we really need to get the government out of the money business, because it's not about protecting life, liberty, or property. People should be free to select whatever money they want to use, just like they can select whatever television or laptop or any other technology that they want to use. So I know you're an advocate for the separation of money and state. How do you intend on taking that dialogue into the sphere of the Senate?
I think the answer is probably the same way that I talk to people about Bitcoin. A lot of people ask me, what do you say about Bitcoin? How do you educate people about Bitcoin? And I always start with what is money first, because that's, to me, way more important. There's a lot of cool things about the technology and stuff about Bitcoin, but I consider those sort of like chapter 2. Chapter 1 is like, what is money, and why do we care about it? What makes good money? And then so I talk about the properties of money, and particularly the limited supply. I think that's probably one of the most important features and a differentiator between Bitcoin and fiat. And the fact that Bitcoin's limited to 21 million and fiat is sort of unlimited forever, that's a big deal. And then there's the other properties, how scarce it is one, but also how portable, how durable, how widely accepted, how divisible. These are things that are good properties of money. And I tell people, you can Google properties of money. I first heard of it from Charlie Lee, like probably first speech I ever heard. I think it might have been even announcing Litecoin, or like right after Litecoin or something like that. And he was talking about that. And he just kind of mentioned like, oh yeah, these properties of money have been around for a long time, long before Bitcoin. And so the properties make sense, and Bitcoin stacks up quite well, and fiat stacks up quite poorly. This idea that you can just print something from thin air, and it's a very good fundamental question to start with. What is money? Is it a thing that politicians can just print? Because what you said is perfect. We decide what money is. Why would we decide a thing that they just say is money? Right. If you really think about it, if you zoom out a little bit, it's like, well, that's very, very similar to an ICO with a pre-mine, like a pre-mined, like a low grade 2017 vintage ICO. Like, hey, here's a thing. Me and my buddies get a bunch of it, and we're selling it to the public right now. And I've always been, kind of more friendly to these kind of projects. I don't usually use the word scam. I say very bad economics. So something like that, I just consider it very bad economics. And I'm still for it. I'm in favor of everybody being able to sell anything, even junk, even, scams, if they tell the truth, if they say, hey, this is where the money's going. And there's been a couple like that. I mean, there's a couple projects that were like blatantly brazen, like, yes, we are going to take this pre-mine, and the founders get it and it goes into their pocket. It's like, okay, I mean, they're not lying. I'm going to buy a Lambo. Here's the Lambo I bought. Like, all right, I wouldn't do it, but I'm all in favor of everybody else doing it. But the dollar is very, very similar. It's the same kind of scammy behavior, very, very low quality economics. And people should have the choice. They should say, I'm going to choose the dollar, or I'm going to choose X, or I'm going to choose some ERC20 token, or, whatever thing they want, whatever crazy thing they want to do. That's their problem. But now you have people actually looking and saying, what is the reality in the world? And there are real principles of this and properties, and these junky coins like the dollar, they just don't stack up. So I would start with that. And then, the crazy thing is, if I get down there, I think that we're going to face such dire economic times over the next 6 years that anything is possible. I mean, we may have no choice. I joke that even Elizabeth Warren may end up voting with me, but that's unfortunately, I think, a possibility, because I think things are going to get so bad that they're going to have no choice. I mean, we could be in a situation in a couple of years where everything is just completely falling apart, and then we have to make radical cuts and change things around. All it takes is, I mean, things go this way until they don't. I mean, you could have one major bill, in 2027 or something, that's like, okay, this bill eliminates these 30 departments and stops the Fed from printing money, and the US dollar is now one of several currencies, including Bitcoin, that we use. You could have one bill that does that. I mean, there's been crazy bills in history many, many, many times. And it tends to happen exactly times like this when the world gets crazy and everything falls apart. So who knows what can happen, but anything is possible.
Yeah, it's exciting as it is terrifying almost, because the spectrum of possibility is just wide open now. And I love that, you go to the properties of money, because that obviously is the namesake of the show here. And I think once you grasp the properties of good money, you understand why gold became money. You understand why Bitcoin is an order or orders of magnitude better. And that's the light bulb moment. And this idea of printing money, it's almost like a perpetual pre-mine, right? That they can just pre-mine again. Every time you engage in quantitative easing, you're just undercutting all the dollar holders one more time, right? To fund BlackRock or whoever else is close to the fiat spigot.